So it's not that you can, education hub is one of our thrust areas. It is not that you can get every faculty in Goa. So we may have to import faculty. But when you import faculty, thinking minds coming into Goa will benefit Goa as well. So these are the ways that we are trying to make it a very positive change. Okay. The Chamber has said, I've read it in his newspaper, that there's a pessimism in the environment. But I'm saying that if there's pessimism, we cannot sit with it. We got to make a change from that. We got to create that optimism again. May not be a way.
शेखर बाबांनी तो प्रश्न सुंदरपैकी मांडलो की आजपर्यंत ज्यो पॉलिसी जाताल्यो त्यो धर पॉलिटिशियन आनी ब्युरोक्रेट करताले स्टेक होल्डर मागीर घणसाबैल कशा वावड तकली हालया म्हणटाले तांकां आज तशें जावना आज ही तुमीच करता पण म्हाका सांगा आजपर्यंत हे देशांतल्या आनी गोंयांतलोय तुमी चेंबरानूच म्हणा की आतां पळय जी हें आसा यंत्रणा आसा सिंगल विंडो किंवा कमर्शियल आनी इंडस्ट्रियल डिपार्टमेंटांक जे मेकॅनिझम आसा ते फक्त नांवा नेमसेक ते इम्प्लिमेंट जायना सिंगल विंडो इम्प्लिमेंट आज पर्यंत जायना हे कित्याक घडटा जेन्ना तेच पॉलिसी करतात तेच इम्प्लिमेंट करतात तरी ते जायना पण आमी पळयलां की भायल्यान हे जे लिबरलायजेशनाक सुद्दां ब्युरोक्रेसी ही इनडिफरंट इनसेन्सिटीव हें आज पर्यंत प्रूव जालां तुमी जेन्ना एक पॉलिसी करून तांकां दितात ती थ्रस्ट धरून ते तुमकां कितलेशे इम्प्लिमेंट करपाक कित्याक सर्वीस डिलिव्हरी ही शेवटी तांचे कडेन आसा सर्वीस डिलिव्हरी पुश हो पॉलिटिशना कडेन आसा तुमी जेन्ना भायल्यांच्यान एक पॉलिसी करून जी दितले ताका कितलोसो तुमकां
म्हाका एकूच आसा की ओवरऑल जर पॉलिसी पळयली आनी जे प्रकाश बाब म्हणटा तातूंतल्यान जर पळयलें जाल्यार खंय तरी तुमचो सगळ्यांत चड विश्वास जो आसा तो मुख्यमंत्र्याचेर आसा आनी तो सगळें जाग्यार घालतलो ह्या विश्वासांतल्यान हें सगळें जालां
हो मुख्यमंत्री जर नाशिल्लो न्ही जाल्यार आमी मदींच पडचे नाशिल्ले Definitely,
you are very clear about it.
I am very clear about it. I do not know about him. I am very clear about it that I can only see hope in this place because he is running the state. We have seen this. We've seen this state in the last 10 years, and we've seen nothing happening. We gave it the same amount of time in 2003 when we were drafting the last policy with this same chief minister, Tanashil Tanna. From there, we've just seen the state going downhill all the while. Okay, कांय जायना land मेळना, power मेळना, उदक मेळना, भायल्यांक मेळटा पण आमच्या गोंयकारांक मेळनाशिल्लें. Okay. So there was no policy really which was being implemented. Even part of that 2003 policy was not getting implemented. Now it is because there's Manohar Parrikar here. We are all quite enthusiastic about creating a new policy and spending so much of time in developing it.
But तुला म्हाका एक गजाल सांगात, can a policy succeed by banking on the stature of only one person?
Sorry, can a policy succeed? We've got to create a policy and create a statute and create a mechanism for delivery. If these three are created while he is around, this will succeed forever.
It will succeed forever.
And I'll tell you one more thing. Just give me one more thing. I'm just reading from this planning committee document. There are three very successful international models: Japan, South Korea, and Singapore. They only succeeded because industry and government worked together to create a policy.
Absolutely.
Okay. The failure models also are given there. India is one of the failure models. India, the failure model. You've got South America, the failure model, because industry was not participating in the creation of the policy. So today, as a nation, we do not have this process. But today, Goa has taken the lead of getting industry forward to do it. So this is a very, very positive change which we must applaud.
Okay.
And we must give it hope.
म्हाका एक गजाल सांगात, हो जरी मुद्दा आतां कें धरला आनी ताणें चेंबरांचे कांय मुद्दे काडले. Why अशें कित्याक दिसता की चेंबर एंड you are not on the same page? Why it is happening?
Well, I don't think the industry needs to be on a different page. Now, you will say that I have answered this question very diplomatically, but that is not so. Basically, chamber जे report करता, ते कित्या खातीर करता हें म्हाका खबर ना. पूण म्हाका दिसता as a responsible body of the industry and trade in Goa, I think more positive statements would be more welcome from the chamber, because that will only give a positive signal to the rest of the world, which we will be looking at from this policy perspective. This is very, very important that all the stakeholders in the state work together to make this policy a success. It is not a policy of one association or the other association. It is the policy of state of Goa. And all the stakeholders of all the associations or most of the people are represented in the task force or are being consulted by the task force.
Just giving you one step ahead, Ni, on that day when the chamber came and made a presentation.
Chamber gave it to you, Ni.
Exactly. Chamber, so I'll explain. The chamber came with a 4-page or a 5-page document to us. Correct. The entire task force was sitting alongside them. On the task force, there are members of the chamber, there are members of the CII, there are independent members. We've invited every association to come and meet us. We've gone and met several stakeholders personally. Our consultants have met several stakeholders. We've put in the public domain, please give us suggestions. And we extended the date 3 times to get more and more suggestions. What I want to say is that when the chamber came in and put that paper in front of us, we discussed every point with them. Initially, they have written down that incentive दिवपाक जाय, but when they spoke, they said incentive दिवपाचे ना तुम्ही म्हणलं म्हणला एक आणि बरेला वेगळे. So I mentioned this to him, to the person who was representing them. We discussed every point, and our general feeling in the task force was that they went back satisfied that here is a creation of a document which can benefit industry. Last night when I was surfing the net, I found this report in the Hindu stating that they have talked about
Prakash report.
But it happened only incidentally last night. I saw it. I have played Pona Shula and I forwarded it to anybody.
I'll come to you. No, why do you think there seems this disconnect between the task force and GCCI? What is the problem?
I really don't know.
No, it could be just the last 10 years. It could just be that the last 10 years of having not seen any good industrial activity, the pessimism has seeped into them. Whereas we are taking courage.
You're saying the pessimism has seeped into chamber and not the industry.
Yeah, into the chamber. Maybe the chamber.
I would very much question why there is a disconnect between chambers. I think there are 2 important members of the chamber's management committee on the task force. So where is the disconnect?
I don't really understand. According to me, there's no disconnect.
Then why
I think Prakash Bab, more than looking at why the document, why GCCI made the statement, let us look forward.
Let's look forward.
Absolutely.
Let us say that for a moment accept and I would say accept the reality that there could be a pessimistic view in the situation because nothing has happened in the last 5 years. Because आम्ही last 7-8 वर्षांत मस्ती केली. ती मस्ती आता आमकां ह्या लास्ट 2-3 वर्षांत भोगची पडटा. आता तरी नाका करूया मस्ती.
So let's go forward.
Atul, I would like to point out that I got the document. I could not carry it in one go. So first part only is that what you are referring. There are 2 more stories on that. And second story and third story. Second story, what exactly they have communicated to you. In that, they have been saying that hub this. They have said, then they have said that cluster policy, all that aspect that is definitely there. But as a journalist, for me, what appeals immediately something a chamber when
there is discomfort.
Discomfort, which says that the situation. For example, if I recall correctly, they have said that last year, out of several proposals which came, only 98 crore investment has actually taken place.
I don't know that figure, but I think the government figure is something like 521 crores. Okay. But I don't want to again get into those figures today. It's
no, but the point is that there is
no. So I'll tell you something different. I'll just stop 1 minute.
I'll give you one.
Just give me 1 second.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to put across is that the fundamentals of our policy I explained to you.
Correct.
But another point which you are very clearly saying in the policy is that it is not enough to get in new investments in the future. It is also very important to keep our current
consolidating the.
No, it is very important to keep the current investor invested in Goa. Okay, that is very important. Our whole policy is also aiming at how to get the current invested companies more competitive. Okay. Now in this creation of a logistics hub, because the cost of bringing in goods and taking them out from here is a major cost. There have been several people who are common between CII, Chamber, GSI, who are working on this project completely independent of our associations, but working because industry needs to work together.
Correct.
As one on a common platform to make sure that all of us get competitive on our logistics.
Correct.
Some of us could be competitors, but yet we work together to make sure that we become more competitive. Okay. When this is happening, I don't think that we should worry about associations having differences or having a different perspective. We should not worry about it at all.
एक गजाल सांगात चिकरा मुद्दाम तुमकां विचारता की after this government took over, एक गजाल आशिल्ली की investors have lost faith in Goa and ह्या सरकारांतल्यान खंय तरी एक पॉझिटिव्ह मेसेज वचपा जाय जंय तर investors confidence परत रिगेन जातलो.
बरोबर
हे फाटली एक वर्ष 3 महिन्या भितर जाला मातसो तरी रिगेन जाला काय परिस्थिती अजून पर्यंत पयलींच्या भशेनच आसा आनी आतां खंय तरी सुरवात जाता?
I think on the ground, in terms of putting in place lot of statutes, especially with inland allotment policy, it has taken time. But now good regulations have been put in place. We couldn't take the second step before this was done because everything was in a limbo. Everything was in a manner in such a bad shape that even allotment of plot to a genuine person was becoming a suspect. So now we have put that in IDC in place. The government has put it in place. Definitely we have created a sound platform which is आमचे जे नेगेटिव्ह आशिल्ले म्हाका जाल्यार दिसता आमी आतां झिरो बेजीसचेर आयल्या आनी हांगांच्यान आतां वी शुड स्प्रिंगबोर्ड नाव द टाइम इज व्हेरी शॉर्ट वी हॅव लॉस्ट 10 years वी हॅव टू रिगेन इन द नेक्स्ट 5 years तो टाइम आतां आयला ही पॉलिसी सुद्दां आमी आतां 2-3 महिन्या भितर I mean, we are working literally every day 2 to 3 hours we are spending all together on this.
टाइम सोंपला फायनल कमेंट
एकच पॉइंट म्हाका विचारपाक जाय की हांवें उदोड रेज केलो की तुमी केलें
पण टाइम सोंपला फायनल पॉइंट प्रश्न विचारपाक प्रश्न विचारल्यार मागीर तुमकां मुद्दो करपाक मेळपाना सांगात
न्ही म्हाका दिसता पॉलिसी करतना चडांत चड थ्रस्ट लोकल हाका नॉट ओन्ली एम्प्लॉयमेंट बिकॉज लोकांक एम्प्लॉयमेंट इज द बिगेस्ट दीस एट द सेम टायम परत कन्सर्न्स ऑफ इनवर्ड मायग्रेशन जावचें ना न्ही हें जेन्ना इन्सेंटिवायज करता इन्वेस्टराक तेन्ना हाजी भरपूर दखल घेवची पडटली नाजाल्यार आमी परत बॅक टू स्क्वेअर वन वतले.
I will like to answer this last my final comment. Our policy is aiming to create jobs for the locals. The majority of the jobs will be for the locals, and any incentives which will be given out, as Shekhar has said, they'll be given out as a only if that sustainable employment is provided over a period of time.
ओके म्हणजे लास्ट प्रश्न तुमकां काजाचेर हांवें मदीं विचारिल्ले बी तुमी म्हळें की मनोहर पर्रीकार जर नाशिल्लो जाल्यार आमी आतां मदीं पळय नाशिल्ले
हांव म्हजें उलयलां
हय तुमच्या
पर्सनली आय एम
हय मागीर तुमकां दिसता की ताज्या हाजे सकलच ही पॉलिसी खंय तरी एक कंक्लुजनाक पावपाक शकता
इम्प्लिमेंट जावपाक शकता.
फाल्यां समजा पॉलिटिकल सिच्युएशन चेंज जालें आनी जर कितें जालें जाल्यार तुमी कितें म्हणटा ह्या पॉलिसीक भवितव्य ना?
Yeah, the statute which should जावचे पयलीं तर if there's a change in the government, I don't know whether it can be implemented. If unless somebody with an equal amount of conviction comes forward, okay. But the conviction we see in him allows me to be enthusiastic to make this policy.
To make this policy. म्हाका
I'm being very straightforward.
खूप महत्वाचो पॉइंट केला की फाल्यां पॉलिटिकल सिच्युएशन जर बदललें जाल्यार ही पॉलिसी खंय पावत तें खबर ना पण मनोहर पर्रीकाराच्या विश्वासाचेर तांणी ही पॉलिसी केल्या सद्याक तर ती एश्युअर करतात की लोकल्साक एम्प्लॉयमेंट मेळटले इन्व्हेस्टराचो कॉन्फिडन्स खंय तरी रिगेन जातलो आनी त्याच बरोबर म्हाका दिसता प्रकाश बाबान कांय धोक्याची सूचनाय केल्यात की हे प्रश्न जर तकल्याक घेतले जाल्यारच खंय तरी फ्रुटफूल जावन ताका पब्लीक सपोर्टूय मेळटलो. तुमी तिघी जाण आयले कारण खूब महत्वाचो म्हाका खबर आहा वेळ पावना बट तुमी मांडले मुद्दे थँक्स अ लॉट पळयत रावात प्रुडंट. नमस्कार.